Morning, back to Dartmoor, and I've changed my setup, so got a different easel. If I just zoom out a little bit, there we are, there's my easel, and there's my table, next to the main table, which is round here. And there's my wife doing the ironing. Say hello. That's Sandy. I'll just come out so I'll get the picture as big as I can. Right, okay. Right, usual, wet the paper all over. There's my palette. Lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, plain grey and burnt sienna. So I'll give the paper a good coating. It's Fabriano, £130. A good soaking there. And when it expands, we can just reclip it. So you don't need to stretch your paper first. Okay. Take the excess moisture off my brush. And while that's wet, I'll go in with a nice warm raw sienna, or dirty raw sienna. Just get this all over the sky, and just a unifying warm colour behind the sky, and then we'll have a bit of a bluish sky. It makes a bit of alizarin with the ultramarine. Then I'll mix a bit of light red, or just a little bit of cloud as we come down to the horizon. And we'll just let that dry off. Just light clouds against the blue of the sky. Let's just get that a bit more strength in there. Right, clean my brush. Right, I'll just reclip the paper and just let it soak in a little bit. Now I want quite a lot of sky on these, as I'm still trying to produce some extra paintings for the corner gallery in Carshalton Beaches, very nice area. It's not far from me, and it's the main exhibition this year with John Stillman, Fiona Hooper, Fred Gillespie. Have a look at Fred Gillespie's work on Google. Google Fred Gillespie artist. He's got a great gallery. He's a marvellous watercolour painter, and I mean marvellous in a traditional sort of classical way. So if in end of April, all of May, you are in the area, or at least come and have a look at the work. And so I'm producing some paints. We are all allowed to put in two, with one reserve. Then as they sell, we can bring in the reserve, then any others if we're that successful. So all I paint for the last 2 years are these demonstrations for YouTube. the odd commission thrown in, which I've also demonstrated. Right, I'm just going to put in a bit of blue, a bit of alizarin and a bit of yellow raw sienna. I wanted to show, this is my background. So, whoops, a bit overdone that. I'm going to put a bit of shadow, clouds, shadow on there. Right, okay, so that's the main background. Now we've got a my opaque split. So I just touch it in the water and until it comes back together again. Now I want to put in a nice sweep of grassland, but warm, bit of burnt sienna with the mix. Vary the colours, coming into some lighter areas. Don't be worried about mixing lots of colours in with these, because it avoids monotony. And then we've got a nice light grey burnt umber, I think we'll put in, just to vary all the way across. So I'm going to put some tors and rocks, and well, it's really more rocks than anything else. Just okay. Get some blue, red, lemon yellow. Just put in some darker greens. Okay, and just a touch of foliage on the horizon there. Very few trees, but you just have to look on Dartmoor. You have to look for the bits of interest, although the actual plain itself or the hills are portraits in their own right. Let's just add some bits and pieces along there. Okay. Right, clip the paper to go to good soaking. Now I'll start to concentrate on the rocks, putting the rocks in, which after all is what Dartmoor is famous for. These outcrops, how they got there, who knows. So, I'll give it a bit of a dry. But not too much, and I want a nice grey, so I think burnt umber and blue, that'll give a nice one, a bit of sienna. Right, let's just need to be fairly dark with this. When you do this, so when you scrape, it leaves the shadows. Right, okay, that's okay. Put some more in here. Could do this with an inch flat brush really, but I've started with this, so we'll finish. Now as I come to the forward, I'll put let's get some nice warms in these rocks. I'm going to make with the card in a minute. Okay. Right, get the card. Make sure it's handy, because if it's not, it'll be too late. So we just they're just slabs of granite. Quite incredible. Right, okay, that'll do for that. We can just show the edges catching a bit of light. Right, and we've got loads of this here, but just gentle scrapes here, I think. Let's try to thin a bit of colour. And as we come closer to ourselves, we can so I've just tried to capture the slabby feeling of this. We come a bit low with that one, but anyway, let's just reduce that a bit. And we've got loads of grasses sticking up. I'll put some grasses in with a hake here. Right, now we've got to do some texturing on this. I don't like that bit there very much. That's got, but we'll alter that. But that's right, I'll lift it out a bit and repaint. So I've got to put in lots of grasses now. I'm not quite used to my setup here, so. We'll use a bit of grey, I think, with the yellow. Right, that's a lot of this sort of, this one is a bit warmer than that. And once we've got this on, I can put the shadows in the grass with a darker colour. to put some darker patches. A bit of warm in there. Now I can scrape into that. So it all goes a long way with this scraping out. Okay, let's put in some darker greens. And then just put some texture on and gorse, clumps of grass. Right, okay. Probably my rocks are not quite as thick as they should be, but I'll put in a couple of figures, I think. My figure brush. For those of you that are really struggling with figures, get a book with figures in, or as Ron Ransom, one of his books, look at Seago's paintings and copy them. Just do loads of them. It's good practice, and you can get some realism with it. If you don't practice it, you won't accomplish much. I don't do enough of it, but I've started to put quite a few figures in, and they do add scale. So let's just, this brush is rubbish. I don't really want to use a rigger for them, because you haven't got enough control over where the brush goes. So I'll use this nylon. Oh, just behind the another one here. And also, don't have figures coming towards you. That's horrible, isn't it? Because it takes you out of the picture. Put them either for side view or back view. And don't make their heads too big. Do the body first, then put the head in. Whoops, gone a bit. Oh well, I'll make him a bit bigger. See, you've gone wrong. Having said that, let's have him standing on the rock. Rucksack. ramblers. So they're just sort of walking up towards the this rock here. I've got a bit down a bit low there, but never mind. Try to create some distance here. I'm not sure it's actually worked, but I need to just put in some darker rocks just on the shape of this ground here. Just little bits of texture here. Right, okay. Not convinced about my rocks though, but some birds. Oh, there's a bit of a space here. Well, I'll give it a signature. I'll put it in a mount and we'll see. See what it's like. Put that on there. I like the easel. I've always liked this easel. It's quite heavy for taking up, but it's a good studio. With the box easel, it was difficult to put my feet anywhere. Although it was lovely having the box for holding all my watercolour paints. So there we are, another Dartmoor. That's come down a bit too far there, but I'm not going to try to change it. It's what it is. It's a demonstration. So let's bring the camera around, and then you can see it's more or less square on. I'll put a nice bit of blue in the sky as a summery sort of day. Let's come around a bit more. That's more or less almost square, isn't it? I can't quite get the angle right. Right, okay, we'll let that go. Let's zoom in. So that top tour there, that is just, it comes down a bit too far into this grass here. And I should have probably used more burnt sienna, a light wash of burnt sienna in the grass there to show sunburn on from this lovely summer there. No tree features on that. I've got my figures in, and then so I've tried to show the grass in the foreground. Not entirely successful, but it's a lovely thing to paint with Dartmoor. It's not barren. It can be very bleak. So there's a prison on it, or there was a prison on it. Dartmoor prison, very famous. If anybody escaped from that, they didn't stand much of a chance on the winter. More the weather can change on a sixpence here. It's a beautiful day, and all of a sudden it's mist and rain and wind. Very exposed, but very, very lovely. Thanks for watching. Speak to you later. Bye bye.